Today on the Freezes.
When we started this life, we never thought we would be so unhappy with our fridges. Even when they're running properly, we've been unhappy with their performances, especially the freezers. And so the cooling system has failed in this. I'm sick of dealing with this technology and it's over for me. So today is the day we make the switch to a residential electric fridge. I'm gonna put this residential electric fridge in this camper. Nevertheless, if you can keep your old fridge going, that's probably your best option. I'm gonna show you how to troubleshoot your two-way absorption fridge. But if you cannot bring it back to life, we're also gonna look at replacing the unit and what that looks like. And we're gonna take a look at price comparisons as to what you're gonna get for your money. We'll check out the anticipated impacts to the grid and a $15 part that you will probably forget, but it will certainly keep you grounded if you don't have it. So let's get started.
We continue our micro trips into the southwestern United States to suss out the new rig before heading up north this spring. Our first stop is a nomadic hotspot during the winter months, Quartzsite, Arizona, more specifically Dome Rock Road. Lots gather here, but the desert has plenty of room, so we've always been able to find a spot.
All right, let's find a spot up here.
So this morning I thought, you know what a great week. Nothing happened on the move. Change of plans. The fridge broke overnight. It won't respond to electricity or propane. So here's what I'm doing now. Reviewing all the paperwork I have on this stupid thing. We've had sink problems, lug nuts. We popped the tank. I know I'm missing a dozen things. Yeah, it's Alright, my Norcold NAX RT has been troubleshooted to my best ability. So here's our model. Here, just letting you know that it's working just fine. Not getting any error codes. Switch to LP, you can hear it kick on. If there was something wrong, this turns red. So all the computer and the board is working fine. Here, temperature gauge, 65. I left that on all night. Here is the fridge sensor. This thing can be checked, but problems that we're having, this regulates the temperature in the refrigerator. We're not really having a problem with that at this moment. It's not cooling at all in the freezer either, but that should be fine. So right in here, I took off this swivel panel right here. So there's a 75 amp fuse and a 5 amp fuse right here. And then we have another fuse, a clear one that's up in there. All three of those are fine, and in fact, all these connections feel really good. Now, here's our LP smokestack where we have the heating element in here. They told me to make sure this is cleared out and clean, and I did. This flap moves open, and then that allows you to see your propane flame in there, and if it's blue, you're doing good. Here is the drain valve. You can pull this little tab out, blow through that. If it's not blocked, you're doing good. You know, so all of these little minor things I've checked. All right, I called 3 people, left 2 messages, talked to one service guy. He said he's a week out, but he did try to help me over the phone. Unfortunately, it was all things that I've already done. He did advise me to look around for an ammonia leak, which can be identified by smell or a yellow residue. I don't see any yellow substance at all like he was talking about. He said it could be in here or inside your fridge, and I don't see anything anywhere like that. So I went through basically the checklist on the owner's manual. I'm not getting any error codes. The fridge is just not reaching its proper temperature at all, and I can't figure it out.
On the phone with the RV techs, trying to figure out the refrigerator. As you know, it's not working, so we have everything in here, and we're talking to a tech to see if we can get this figured out. Well, the RV repairman is here. Brian and him are outside, so I'm just creeping on them right now, but we'll see what he can do to fix it. These repairs aren't always fun nor easy.
The tech's gone, and he said that I basically did all the troubleshooting a man can do. He left scratching his head. Super frustrating, but it just makes me feel a lot better having a tech come and telling me that I've done all the troubleshooting I could do. I most likely need a new cooling system. Guys, I think we're in for trouble here.
At this point, I think I did what most people do, which is look up an exact replacement online. What I found was shocking. What you get for your money isn't much. This is the price for my 7 cubic foot two-way replacement fridge. It's about $1,600. Here's a fridge for about the same price. A 28 cubic foot French door smart fridge with an ice maker and chilled water. Pretty nice, right? And it kind of feels priced right for what you get. So what are we paying for when we're looking at replacing the fridge with another two-way fridge? It's definitely not performance, looks, or overall efficiency in my opinion. I mean, what you get is 7 cubic feet of food storage with mediocre performance, and a freezer by its own admission is not intended to freeze anything.
How is a freezer not supposed to freeze your meat? In the manual, it says to put in already frozen meat. That's damn near impossible. Here's another tip we got about our two-way fridge. If it's not working for you, go ahead and remove it and roll it around on the ground for a couple days and then reinstall it and see if that works. Oh, and by the way, it might work for 3 days. It could work for 3 more years, or it might not. So there weren't a whole lot of viable options for us when it came to replacing this fridge with another two-way fridge. None that really made any sense. And if you're not comfortable installing this yourself, be prepared to pay $140 to $165 per hour for install, probably a 2-hour minimum labor charge.
Now, the newest thing out for RV fridges is the 12-volt DC fridge. If you never plan on getting an inverter installed or adding solar, 12-volt DC fridges are really something to consider. The energy information on these units was harder to find, but the consensus seems they run much more efficient on its electric setting than your current two-way fridge does, and always cheaper than your propane setting. However, they are still pretty pricey for what you actually get, and performance issues still come up in the reviews, but they can run off of your battery's power without requiring an inverter. Because we have solar, batteries, and the inverter, getting a residential electric is the best option for us for price and performance. Before you start your search online, I would get the actual dimension of your true empty space. I wouldn't guess at this if you can help it. The second thing is, use the phrase counter depth in your search. This is going to help you narrow down the size of fridges you're looking for. And the first thing you might notice here is the price. It's significantly cheaper for a residential all-electric, 4 times cheaper in some cases. And because you're not going to have the cooling system on the back like the two-way fridge, you'll likely see that you now have more cubic feet of food storage.
So spending 3 times the money on a fridge we weren't happy with didn't really sit right with me. So this is when I knew we should look into going all electric.
But a huge question remained. How will the fridge affect my grid?
When we decided to go solar at the time, we were planning on using the fridge's propane as its power source so we wouldn't have the constant draw on the grid and the batteries.
Besides the dimensions of the fridge, the Energy Star calculation was probably the second most important thing I was looking at because I needed to understand the impacts it would have on my grid. The fridge we chose claims under normal circumstances it will use 326 kilowatt hours per year. If you divide that by 365 days per year, you end up with about 900 watt hours per day of usage. This is a zoomed in screenshot of the Victron Connect app. This section here called yield is the total amount of solar energy harvested for that day. Now, a side note, I know these 4 panels can produce better results. I was still learning how to park and angle my rig to get the most out of the sun, and I wanted to also point out, if you do plan on putting a couple panels on your roof, put them away from your AC and antennas to keep them out of any shadows. But nevertheless, these are the numbers that I have. And based on this data, I am harvesting about 1.75 kilowatt hours per day. Based on what we know from the Energy Star calculation, this fridge will use 900 watt hours per day. So as it stands right now, the fridge will consume 50% of my solar energy.
I couldn't expect to add this electric refrigerator to my grid without expecting to run my generator a lot more, and we had no intention on doing that. Remember, this fridge is costing us $430, and in comparison, replacing it with a two-way fridge was going to be $1589. So in order to cover the fridge's energy needs, we decided to put that savings to work and finish our solar array and grid early. But by doing this, we will more than compensate for the fridge and exceed our needs for our power for our daily life. But before we do that, let's get this fridge installed and see how it fits into this new space.
We have made it out here to Havasu now. We came to the power line district area, what we call, and the reason we came out here is tomorrow our refrigerator is supposed to be delivered. We got a fridge.
All right, we're back from Lowe's and we got the fridge. Here's where it is. And that's where it needs to go. This fridge is actually a little over 100 pounds. It's not terrible, but a little awkward. I'm gonna unbox this. I already got the other fridge inside ready to go, and I just gotta unloosen 4 screws that I tightened up on it so that we could actually move out to the spot. I'm gonna put this residential electric fridge in this camper, plug it in, and see how our grid handles it. I messed up the trim a little bit, thinking I was gonna have to take it off. It looks like I'm not gonna have to take off the trim. I was able to sneak it in here with the doors off. I was able to get it more square up to the hole, and I was it looks like I'm gonna be able to force it in here. Not really force, I mean, it's snug, don't get me wrong, but I think I'm gonna be able to get this bottom end up, and this was the biggest concern, was the width. So let me show you outside. All right, this is gonna be the only thing that we need to make sure that we do tonight. Is I need to get a propane cap for this line, since we're not gonna need it anymore. And look at how snug this is gonna fit in here. You know, that insulation is just gonna push in and it won't be a big deal. That is a snug fit, guys. But look at this, here's the plug. There's no guts. I'm gonna plug this in right here, and it is hopefully gonna fix all our problems. We get an extra 2.7 cubic feet of fridge and freezer space out of this. So if we can make this work, it is a no-brainer.
A little bit more.
See, do you see what we have working with here? So this is sticking out another 2 inches, and we didn't have much to play with here, so that was another worry. Okay, here's the back, guys. Look how snug it is. So here's the propane line we're not gonna need anymore, and this is the line I got a cap, and we gotta buy that at Lowe's when we go drop off the fridge. This plug is just gonna plug in right over here, which we're about to do just right now. And there it just kicked on. And
Drain the bank.
yep, drain the battery bank. I have finally got this line capped. If we have any bubbles. All right, I think we're good. It took a while, but we got it done.
Well, the first purchase. Gotta have the necessary things.
Okay, here's the big one, guys. Saved for you who just stuck around to the very end. Something you might overlook in everything you got going on is the fact that RV fridges come standard with latching doors for travel. Make sure that if you switch to a residential electric, that you order a fridge locking mechanism that fits your new fridge. Do not travel without it, because your doors will open during travel and you'll have a huge mess on your hands.
I hope this video helped any of you guys out there battling these same issues. And if it did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, guys, don't you think it's time?
Next time on the freezes, we need to make our final adjustments to the grid to compensate for the new fridge before we head north this spring.
800 watts just isn't enough for this family.
Darian and I want to thank y'all for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.